Hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome back and let's start. So up to the last session, we discussed about the AWS. What is the main difference between public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud, and what are the different AWS services that we are having, including IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So this is the concept that we have discussed in the last session. So in this session, what we are going to discuss here is we are going ahead into the concept called as. So now, whenever we are working with the public cloud, the first question which I'm going to ask you here is, so yeah, I have a public cloud which is running like AWS. Okay, I'm having a public cloud that is running the AWS. So all my servers, whatever the servers that that I have on the that I am running on the AWS infra. Okay, AWS environment. So now AWS is a public cloud. So which means that only my servers will be there in the AWS, or else any servers will be there in the AWS. Like different company servers will be available in the AWS. Able to understand my question? My question is, when we are configuring this AWS, whether my servers will be there in the AWS, or else n number of servers will be there in the AWS. Different company servers are there, will be there in the AWS. Now, for example, I'm working for a bank project. Okay, so there is a bank project called as SBI. Okay, so all my servers I have configured. Actually, banks should not go for the cloud environment, but I am taking an example. Or else, let us supposing there is a food delivery app called as Zomato. Okay, so they want to install their servers on the AWS infrastructure. So this Zomato will keep the servers in AWS. Okay, so now the same way there is another food delivery app called as Swiggy. Okay, these servers are also hosted in the AWS. Now can you tell me, is it possible in this manner? So Swiggy and Zomato both are the quite rivalry things. So is it these two servers are in the same AWS environment? When these two servers are in the same AWS environment, which means that whether they will communicate with each other or not. By there is a chance. I will not say that definitely they will not communicate. Either the way they will communicate. Okay, there is a chance that there might be these two servers will get communicated with each other. So to overcome this issue, what I have to do now? Do you understand my question, guys? Hello, can you respond, please? Whoever are attending to the session, can you please respond?
Yeah, hi Chaitanya.
Hi, Vipin.
Yeah, it is possible.
So there might be a chance that these two will get communicated. So what is
Yes,
my requirement? For example, we have to discuss about the global infrastructure of AWS. I will discuss about that within a short time. But the point is, if you see here, this is my AWS infra. Okay, for example, this is my AWS infra. Among that, this is a Zomato server. Okay, and there is one more server called as a Swiggy server. There is one more server called as a Swiggy server. Now, what I have to do, for example, try to understand, you are residing in an gated community, or else you are residing in a street. Okay, so when you are residing in a street, so your house, there will be adjacent houses. Okay, there will be so many number of houses in a row. Okay, so now if this house it should be isolated from the another house. So there should not be any connection to the another house. For that, what we are going to do, we are going to create a security boundary, which is called as a wall across the house. We are going to create a security boundary saying that this particular area belongs to me. So the other person is also going to construct the security boundary saying that this particular area belongs to me. So we are going to divide the houses logically with the help of a wall. Okay, so in the same manner, here I am having two servers which belongs to the two different companies, two different organizations. Now, what is my requirement? I want one server should not communicate with the another server. If that communication happens, then there is a data breach, which is a breach for SLS. To overcome all these problems, what we are going to do here is we are going ahead with a concept called as networking. This can be possible through networking. Okay, so if we are configuring the networking, we can create the our own virtual private cloud. So whatever you are thinking, we can create our own virtual private cloud with the help of the virtual private cloud, which is nothing but VPC. With the help of this VPC, we can configure the systems. Okay, so that is what we are going to check out now. Okay, so what we are going to check out in this session is networking concept, which is involved into the AWS. See, in AWS, there is a concept called as VPC, which is nothing but virtual private cloud. Okay, so this virtual private cloud is purely based on the IP addressing concept, purely based on the subnetting concept, purely based on the networking concept. Okay, so now if you want to understand the VPC, what is a VPC? VPC is a virtual private cloud which will isolate the another virtual private cloud so that the instances or else so that the objects inside this VPC will not communicate with the objects in the another VPC. Again, repeating back. So VPC is a security boundary in which the instances or the services that are created in one VPC will not communicate with the services in the another VPC. Okay, by defaultly, they will not communicate with each other. Make note of this point. By defaultly, the services that are created in a VPC will not communicate with the services that are created in the another VPC. Okay, well and good. So whatever you are saying is good, but how they will not communicate with each other? To make sure you understand this point, we need to go ahead with the concept called as networking. So what I am saying, try to understand. It is a VPC. It is a logical unit that in AWS that will isolate the services which are present with the another services in another VPC by default. If you want, you can change it. So we can make the services that are created in one VPC can communicate with the services in the another VPC. That we can do. But by default, what I am saying, one services or else the services in one VPC will not communicate with the services in the another VPC. How this is going to be possible? How it is possible? To make it possible, we are going with the networking. Okay, we are going with the networking. Let us suppose think I just want to give you a small clarification, like just an example. For example, now as Jio has introduced and so many free tariffs have came, you can call to anyone, any from any mobile network to any another mobile network with free of cost. That's okay. But previously, when you go back to somewhere around 2014, 15, 16, when Geo was not introduced into the world, at that time we have certain things. What is that? If Airtel customers wants to communicate with the another Airtel customer, that is free of cost. But if Airtel customer wants to communicate with the BSNL customer, they used to charge some 1 paisa per second. So which means that if the devices or else if the persons who are residing on the same mobile network, that is Airtel to Airtel, it's a free of cost. If the persons who are residing in the different networks, that is Airtel to BSNL, then we have to pay. In the same manner, here also, when we are going with the networking, what is meant by networking? Connection of multiple devices through a media that helps for communication between the devices is called as networking. Networking means connection of two or more devices is called as network. Networking means establishing the communication. So connection of multiple devices through a media that helps for communication between the devices is called as networking. What is the meaning of that? For example, I am inside an organization. In my organization, there are some 100 computers are there. Okay, for example, computer 1, okay, computer 2, computer 3, like this I am having multiple computers. Okay, if all the computers are interconnected through the cable like this, okay, so now there is a connectivity between all the computers. Physically, if you see here, all the computers are interconnected, so it is called as a network, physical network. Physically, logically, we will come back to that later. So physically, all the computers are connected with each other. In the same manner, if you go to the AWS data center, if you go to AWS data center, what is this data center? We will discuss. So if you go to the AWS data center, inside the data center, what will happen? So all the servers, okay, inside a data center, what you are going to have here is you will have the racks. Okay, you are going to have the racks inside the data center. So this is a rack. Inside this rack, you will have multiple servers. This is server 1, server 2, server 3. Like that, you will have multiple physical servers. So all these servers are interconnected with each other. Okay, all these servers are interconnected with each other, and you don't have only single rack. In a data center, you will have some thousands of racks are available like this. Okay, when these racks are available, all the racks are interconnected with each other. So these racks are interconnected with each other like this. Excuse me. They will have the network connectivity. Everything is interconnected. Now, as everything is interconnected, every rack is interconnected. Now, what is your understanding here? The systems are also interconnected with each other. So all the systems are interconnected with each other like this. So when the servers are interconnected with each other, so AWS, what AWS is going to do? AWS is going to create some Zomato servers and Swiggy servers in the same data center. Try to understand. AWS is going to create the Zomato servers and Swiggy servers on the same data center. So these are all the servers that are interconnected with each other. Now, my question is, if you see in the physical manner, all servers are interconnected. So when the servers are interconnected, we will discuss about logical things. So if you can see physically, what did you understand? Is there any chance that these servers will communicate with each other or not? By looking physically, can you tell me whether the servers are able to communicate or not? Physical. We will discuss about the logical.
Yeah, it might be possible, Chaitanya.
Yeah, it is possible to make the communication. So now when it is possible to make the communication physically, but when we come back to the logical section, what is the logical section? So physically they are interconnected with each other. So try to understand this point. For example, you went to a hackathon or else you went to some technical forums. Okay, so into that hackathon, so many companies has came like Wipro, okay, Infosys, or else TCS, HCL, like that. There are so many other companies which has came into that hackathon. Now all the company employees has attended. A few employees has been attended with their ID card. So on their ID card they are having 101. For Wipro they will be having 101 employee 101 or else 150 or somewhere else 160. For the Infosys also, one of the employee who is attending, he is having the 101 as the number employee code. So both the employees are having the same employee code. Now try to understand this. When you are inside the hackathon, when the employees are all inside the hackathon, physically they are in the same network. Are you able to understand? Physically, when you see, they are in the same network. Excuse me. Which means they are in the they are in the conference. But logically, if you see whether all these entities are same or different, physically, if you see, all the employees are interconnected with each other and they are in the same ground, on the same ground, which means that they are in the same network. But logically, if you see here, whether the employees belongs to the same company, whoever has been attended to that hackathon, whether the employees belongs to the same company. Just say yes or no.
No, sir.
No, they doesn't belongs to the same company. So how you are going to decide them depending on the company name? Okay, in the same manner, here also, if you can see here, all the servers are interconnected with each other. Physically, they are in the same network. But logically, what is this logical thing or else logical network? Here comes the concept of IP addressing. Very, very important topic. Wherever you go, it follows you. Okay. So like a watchdog, wherever you go, IP addressing will follow you. If you are a developer or else if you are a tester, if you are a system administrator, cloud engineer, anywhere. So you need to have the basic understanding about the IP addressing. In IP addressing, types of IP addresses is very important. Types of IPs. So there are two types of IPs. One is IPv4 and the next one is IPv6. So we are not going to discuss about IPv6. Why? Because of course IPv6 was introduced into the world and there are some companies are utilizing the IPv6, but still majority number of the companies and majority number of the clouds are still using the IPv4. We are going to discuss about this IPv4 only. So just forget about IPv6. We will discuss about IPv4. So what is this IPv4? Internet protocol. Internet protocol. Okay. So what is this protocol? So if you want to, protocol means rules and regulations. If you want to transmit, if you want to establish the communication between the devices. So as you can see, there are certain devices. Okay. So this is device one, nothing but server one, and this is the server two. For your more comfortability, what I will do here is I will just mention it as servers. Okay, this is a server. This is another server. This is another server. Like that, these are all the servers. Okay. So when you are having all the servers in this fashion, now they are interconnected with each other, but still there is some rules and regulations that should be followed. So that rules and regulation will comes with the IP, Internet Protocol. Protocol means rules and regulation. What rules it is going to show you? So what IP says here is the devices in the same logical network will communicate with each other. So this is what said by IPv4. So whatever the devices that are there in the same logical network, here you need to understand, I am not talking about the physical network. I am talking about the logical network. The devices that are there in the same logical network, they will communicate with each other without any another devices. We don't require any another devices like routers and all the things. But the devices in the different logical network will not communicate with each other. Communicate other. So will not communicate with each other except if we establish a router, okay, a third device. So this is very important. And then how data transfers, everything will be defined by the protocol, internet protocol. So this IPv4, whatever the IPv4 that you are seeing, IPv4, it is a 32-bit logical address. It is a 32-bit logical address. Okay, whenever I am speaking about the bits, so in which number format the bits will be? In which numbering format the bits will be? So what are the different numbering formats that we are having? Binary, decimal, octal, hexadecimal, right? So whenever I am talking about the bits, IPv4 is a 32-bit logical address, which means that bit means in which format. So how many of you are working in the IT, guys?
Zeros and ones, sir.
Yeah, zeros and ones. Bits means it will be in the binary format. Binary format, which means zeros and ones. Okay, which means that it will have all 32 zeros, 32 ones, or else the combination of 32 zeros, like some zeros and some ones. So overall, you will have 32 bits. Likewise here. Okay, like this. Okay, you will have 32 bits. So in this position, in this X position, you can have zeros, or else you can have ones, or else you can have the combination of zeros and ones. So zeros and ones. So now this IP address, whatever the IPv4 address that you are seeing here, this will be ranging from, so you can see here this 32-bit, here we are having 8-bit, 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 4 8s equal to 32. So these 8 bits combinedly called as an octet. The 8 bits in an IP address is called as an octet. Okay, it is called as an octet. So which means that this is the first octet, second octet, third octet, and fourth octet. So if you see here in each and every object octet, so it might be starting from 0 and ending with 255. So the starting number of the octet will be 0 and the end number of the octet will be 255. And apart from that, you won't get any another number. So why, sir? Why I am not able to get? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you have these 8 digits, 8 bits, and convert these 8 bits into the decimal number format. Sorry, this will be in the decimal number format. If I want to convert this binary number into decimal number format, obviously there is no any another number. You are going to get 0. Okay, so if you want to check out that, here you are having an option called as, you can search in the Google, binary to decimal format. So whatever the zeros that you are seeing here, this is totally a binary number. If you convert this binary number, obviously you are going to get as 0 only. So that's why I asked you to understand. That's why I asked you to go through the binary to decimal number format. Now, if I am increasing the number, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to increase the last number like this 0000001. So which means that if I convert that into the decimal number format, the 1 will be there. Then what I can do 00010, it will be 2. and 0000011. This will be 3. Like that, you can increase the number of binary numbers like this: 000010004 0000115 0000111. This is called as a 7. Like that, you can increase the n number. So what you can do here: 00100, it is called as 8, 1001. This is called as 9, 1010. Like that, you can increase number of numbers. So now finally, what you are going to get at the end, if you can see, there will be all ones. There will be 8 ones. So if you convert this 8 ones, what you are going to get? So if you try to convert it, so the maximum number that you can get in an IP address is in the decimal format is 255, which means that each and every octet will be ranging from 0 to 255, dot 0 to 255, 0 to 255, 0 to 255. Okay, so the 4 octets will be in any number, either it might be 0 to 255. Okay, so for example, for a computer, so this is my laptop, whatever you are seeing, this is my laptop. So in my laptop, I am having multiple, what I can say, multiple network adapter. See, let me show you this. So this is one of the network adapter which is having an IP address. So what is the range of IP address? If you can see here, it is 192.168.59.1, which means that, so this IP address, whatever the IP address that you are seeing here, this IP address will be in the range of 0 to 255 only. It is not going to exceed 255, 256. You are not going to get any number of 256. So this is what an IP address will be looking like. Now, finally, when we are discussing about these IP addresses, what are the different classes that we need to understand, and what is meant by a network ID, what is meant by a broadcast ID? We need to discuss about that. So, first of all, what we need to discuss: network ID, broadcast ID, and we need to discuss about classes. We will discuss about that, but before that, before I go into this concept, do you understand all these concepts whichever we have discussed up to now? Any questions? Do you have any questions in the topic whatever we have discussed up to now? Why? Because it is very, very important to understand this networking to understand the VPC concept. Yes, any questions? So which means that you are okay with the entire thing. Whoever has answered that there are no questions means you are okay with the entire thing. Guys, I'm asking you, the remaining persons, anyone is having any questions? Linesh, Priyanka, Sailesh, I think Sailesh has given me the response. Subodh, Vipin, any questions up to now? Whatever we have discussed, we discussed only about the fundamentals, very basic things. So if you have the questions, you can ask me right away. Okay. So whoever has responded, I think everyone are good with everyone are in the same flow like me. So you are with me, right? So you are able to understand whatever I am saying. Fine. Now, see, first of all, before we go into the network ID and broadcast ID, the first and foremost thing that you need to understand here is subnet. Okay, or a subnet mask. What is the subnet mask? Before we go into the subnet mask, let me show you one thing. So there is a server with an IP address called as x dot or else a dot b dot c dot d. I am not giving any numbers. I can give you some numbers, but I am not giving any numbers. There is another server which is having a dot b dot e.d or else e.f. So like that, we are having another server. Okay, so this is one server. Whatever you are seeing, this is one server which is having the IP address. Without IP address, the communication won't happen. Try to understand the IP address like your mobile phone number. So you are having a mobile. You will be having IMEI number. So for your mobile, there will be an IMEI number. But until unless if you are having a SIM card, you will be not able to communicate with the another mobile. Okay, so you are having a certain mobile called as Nokia. So for example, if we go back certain time back, I am having a Nokia 1600, which is a very old mobile. So that will have an IMEI number. Okay, so now I have previously I used to have a BSNL number. Okay, so with that BSNL number, I can able to communicate with the another number. I am able to communicate with the another mobile. Okay, so if that SIM card is not there, excuse me, if that SIM card is not there, am I able to communicate with the another mobile? Even though I have the mobile and my friend is also having the mobile, if I don't have a number, if I don't have a SIM card, am I able to communicate with the another person? Is it possible?
No.
No. In the same manner, if you in your server, you will be having a MAC address. In your server, you will be having a MAC address, which is a permanent address. It is not going to be changed. If you shift the server from India to America, or else America to Africa, or else Africa to Europe, any destination, if you take the server, the MAC address is not going to be changed, which is a media access control address. So the MAC address for any networking device is constant. It is not going to be changed. But the IP address, like your mobile, for example, you are in India, you will use India SIMs. If you go back to the China, you have to use the China SIMs. If you go to the America, you have to use the America SIMs. So which means that the mobile IME number is constant, but what is changing? Your phone numbers are changing. Why? Because the network is in India will not be there in the America. In the same manner, your server, whatever the devices that you are having, the IP address of the server will be keep on changing. If you are shifting from one location to the another location, the IP address is going to be changed. Okay, please remember this. And the most important thing here is we are having the octets. Now my question is, now try to understand. It is very important for you to go ahead into the VPC. Now I want to segregate this particular server with the another server. I want to isolate one server with the another server. Physically I cannot isolate them, but logically I can isolate. How? Because if this server IP address network differs from the another server IP address network, then I can separate these two servers logically. Physically they are in the same network, but what I am saying, try to understand, if the IP address of the server is in one network and the IP address of the another server is in the another network, then I can segregate these two servers. Now if I have to make an analogy of this, for example, you are attending to the AWS sessions now. So you have enrolled for the AWS sessions and you are going to get an AWS somewhere like 10. This is your roll number. AWS 10 is your roll number. Okay, AWS 10 is your roll number. So you are inside the DURGASOFT. Physically you are inside the DURGASOFT, but in the same manner there is another student who is attending the Python sessions with the same roll number. But here what is difference? The network is different. So the user who is residing in AWS will attend the AWS sessions, and the users who is having the Python as the ID, he will attend to the Python session. So the user who is having his ID card on AWS, he will attend to the AWS sessions, which means he belongs to the AWS network. And the user who is having Python on his ID card will attend the Python sessions, which means he belongs to the Python network. In the same manner, so I am having an IP address like this, 10.1.100.15, and there is one more IP like 10.2.100.some 50. So these are the two IPs that I am having. As I already said you, in the IP address, there will be 4 octets. Each and every octet will be ranging from 0 to 255. If you see the numbers are ranging from 0 to 255 only. So this is assigned to server 1, or else this is assigned to Zomato server. And this is assigned to Swiggy server. This IP address is assigned to Swiggy and this IP address is assigned to Zomato. Now, can you tell me whether these two IP addresses are in the same network or different network? If I ask you, how you are going to explain me about this? Can you tell me whether these two IP addresses are in the same network or different network? If I ask you this question, how you are going to explain me? Is it possible for you to make this IP address belongs to the same network or different network? Is it possible for you? Are you able to understand my question, guys? At least say yes or no.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
It's possible. But straightforwardly, by looking into this IP address, you cannot segregate. So, for example, I'm going to give you an example here. There is a employee who attended the hackathon, and there is another employee who attended the same hackathon. Okay, try to understand this. If I ask that these two employees belongs to the same company, what you will say? Is it possible for you to say that these two employees belongs to the same organization, or else these employees belongs to the different organization? How you can say that? You cannot say, right? So if I say that there is an employee from Wipro, which means that I am providing the identification.
Yeah, might be some unique number should be there with them.
Okay, so there is another employee who is attending from Infosys. Now you can easily say that these two employees belongs to the different network or else different organization. In the same manner, I just gave the employee number. In the same manner, I just gave you the computer number, that is the IP address 10.1.100.50, and I am giving you 10.2.100.50. This is the second server number. So when I give this, it is very, very difficult for you to understand whether these two servers belongs to the same network or different network. Like this, previously I didn't give this organization, so you cannot say that they belongs to the same network or different network. When I give you the organization, you are able to answer it. In the same manner, here also, if I want to differentiate the IP addresses, so this IP belongs to this network and this IP belongs to this network, I need to implement a concept called as a subnet mask. What is the subnet mask? It is also, try to understand, try to be very clear here. There are so many people who are getting confused about this. It is also a 32-bit address which will identify the network portion and host portion. Host means your devices. Hosts are nothing but the devices. Network is nothing but the environment. Okay, so the devices which are working inside the environment is called as a network. Host means the devices, and host portion. Okay, so subnet mask is also a 32-bit address which will identify the network portion and the host portion. In networking, especially in subnet mask, I will go with the in subnet mask, one represent network bit and 0 represent host bit. Okay, so now if I have to say you, for example, I am providing the subnet mask as 255.255.0.0. This is the subnet mask of the Zomato server IP address, and the subnet mask of the Swiggy server IP address is 255.0.0. So this is the subnet mask. So what I am saying, 1 represent the network bit. If I convert the subnet mask 255 into the binary format, what you are going to get? So try to understand. So let me give you the IP address here. Don't worry about the IP address. Just concentrate on the subnet mask. So I am saying you that the subnet mask, if I convert the 255, I am going to get the 8 ones in the first octet. 1, 2. In the second octet also, I am going to get the 8 ones. Why? Because 255, if I convert that into the digital, I mean, what I can say, binary format, I am going to get like this. Okay, here also this is like this. Okay, so I have converted the subnet mask into binary format. Whatever the decimal number that we have provided, that is converted into the binary format. Try to understand. In the first octet, you are having all ones, which means that what is 1 represent in the subnet mask? Network bit or else network portion of the IP address. So if you see 1 in the first octet, that means that the IP address first octet is the network octet. And if you see the second octet is also with the number of ones, that means that the second octet of the IP address is also the network octet. So which means that the first octet is the network octet and the second octet is also called as network octet. So these two are the network octet. So the network ID. So what is the network identification? So the network identification of this entire network is 10.1.0.0. So it will start from 10.1.0.0. Next one is 10.1.0.1, 10.0.1.2, 10.1.0.3, 10.1.0.4. Like that, it will goes on up to 10.1.0.255. After 255, you are going to get 10.1.1.0. Like that, you are going to increment. So this will be starting from 10.1.0.0. So this is the network ID, which cannot be used in the systems. Okay, we cannot access this in the systems. For example, I will go into one of my network adapter. Let me try to assign this. Okay, I will assign this IP address to one of my adapter over here. So 10.1.0.0, and here I will give like this. So 255 subnet mask is 255 255.0.0. If I give this, it will not accept. Why? Because all the host portions here in the subnet mask, the last 2 octets are the host octets. In the last 2 octets are the host octets. So the host bit of the IP address are zeros. So that's the reason it is not going to accept. If I convert it into 1, it will accept now. Okay. So the point is, what is a network identifier? It is like an identification for you when you attend to a hackathon. Likewise, here I have given, Wipro employee 1, Wipro employee 2. In the same manner, 10.1.0.0, it doesn't have any value. So 0 doesn't have any value, right? So from 1 onwards, it will have a value. So which means that the next IP address is a valid IP that can be assigned to your computer. 10.1.0.1. So the next one is 10.1.0.2, like that. Okay, so you can assign these many number of IPs, but you cannot assign this IP address. And as well as the last IP address of this network is, 10.1.255.255. This IP address also you cannot assign to your computer. Okay, just forgot about this. So this IP address, whatever you are seeing, 10.1.100.15, comes between these 2 IP addresses. So which means it is a valid IP you can assign to your server. Now, if you can see the Swiggy, here also you are having 2 network portions. What are those? 10.2.100.50, and the subnet mask is, if you convert this subnet mask, the first 2 portions of the IP address are the network portions. Why? Because here the first network portion is all of ones and the second network portion is also all of ones. Now, if you can compare these 2 IP addresses, the first octet is same, that is 10, and here also 10. But what about the second octet? I am saying you have to look after the subnet mask. In subnet mask, I am having 2 octets of networks, which means that it is going to represent, it is going to say to the IP address, the first 2 octets are the network octets for you. So here also it is like just saying, our brain is going to say he is from Wipro. I saw his ID card. He is from Wipro. I saw his ID card. He is from Infosys. So these two are the 2 distinct candidates. How my brain is going to say. In the same manner, subnet mask is going to say that the user gave me the subnet mask is 255.255.0.0, which means that the first 2 octets of the IP address are the network octets. And here also the first 2 octets are the network octets. So what you have to check whether these two are same or different. If the first 2 octets are same, then the devices are in the same network. If first 2 octets are in the different network, means different numbers, then they are in the different network. If I give like this, then these 2 servers are in the same network. If I change the IP address like the 2 octets, then they are in the different subnets. Okay, they are in the different networks. So this is how by identifying the subnet mask, you can identify whether the IP address belongs to the same network, IP addresses belongs to the same network or different network. So I'm going to give you one simple question, 192.168.1.100, which is having the subnet mask as 255.255.255.0 and 192.168 some 100 or 3.101 with the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. I am giving a poll. Okay. Is there any availability here? I think there is no availability of poll. Okay, my question is very simple. Now, by looking into these 2 IP addresses, can you tell me whether they belongs to the same network or different network? That's my question. From the beginning, you are listening and you are not having any doubts. So my question is whether they belongs to the same network or different network. If you cannot speak, just type on the chat box. Yes, do you understand my question? Whether these 2 IPs belongs to the same network or different network? Response, please. Guys, it's very simple. I want your response. I don't want you to be silent in this class. Come on, speak out. Different. Okay. Any another? Any another person? Only Sailesh is hearing to my class. No another person is hearing to my class. Guys, please respond. If you don't respond, I am going to stop the class here itself. At least you understood or not, at least say that word. I did not understand. That will be great. If you are keeping silent or else if you sit silently, this is waste of your time and as well as my time. So yes, please respond. You understand or not? If understand, whether these two IPs belongs to the same network or different network. See, IP addressing is also, this is the first session only, buddy. I'm not going very in deep into the sessions, but anyways, thanks for your, at least you speak something. So nobody knows about the IP address, right? If I'm not wrong. So that's why I asked you to go through the decimal to binary to decimal format so that you will clearly understand. But this is very simple. It's not very difficult for you to understand. Okay, so it's simple that whichever the octet you are having the 255, that's the network octet in the IP address. So I'm having 3 network octets. Here also I'm having 3 network octets. So the first 2 octets are the same, but the third octet is different, which means that the IP address is on the different network. So the servers will not communicate with each other. It's so simple, no? Okay, so revise the video once, then only you will understand. Until unless then you will not able to understand the concept. Okay, so that's it from my end. So go through the video once and try to understand what are the concept that we have discussed now, and later we will go ahead into the concept of subnetting. Very important, and with that we will wind up the networking thing, and then we will go into the concept of AWS VPC creation. Okay, so have a nice day and we'll meet in the next session. Further questions? Okay then, have a nice day and we'll meet in the next session, guys. Bye. I'm ending the session.
Yeah, sure.